Kevin Owens does not want to face Cody Rhodes. Cody came out, opened the show, and he's like, hey, we could talk about SummerSlam, but let's talk about the future. I want my next opponent to be... And then Solo Sikoa comes out, and he's like,
me.
I want a rematch.
Like he fucking is owed to him.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
And he calls him a... He's like, you're fucking delusional if you think you deserve a rematch. So Cody's like, you're fucking delusional, you're insane. And Solo's like, oh yeah? And then they get in the ring. Kevin Owens comes out with 2 chairs. And Cody's like, oh, it's a good thing you're here. Because I was going to ask you to challenge me. Which I think is so funny. Like, oh, it's two baby faces. Like, it's fine. They're friends. Friendly competition. Which someone commented the other day and said, that can never work. Like, 2 baby faces? Yes, it can.
I get, like, there needs to be a baby face. And it's just like an exhibition.
Yeah, it's a little exhibition 2K match.
Well, if you think about it, like, in the long term. Like, at first, I was kind of like, I don't really want to see this. But then I was like, actually, yeah, I do. Because... Do you know how many matches Kevin Owens had with Roman during his title reign?
Yeah.
He had like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And he got fucked over in every single one of them.
Yeah.
So like, now is like, Cody Rhodes recognizes that, and he's like, I want to give you a fair chance, I guess.
Yeah, at the title.
And Kevin Owens is just like, no.
He's like, no, there's so many other people back in that locker room.
He's like, no, I'm so fucking stupid. Like, you wouldn't even want to have, like, a title match with me. Like, I'm just so, like, I should just fucking, like, go lock myself in my room.
I should just leave and never wrestle again.
Yeah, just, like, I'm so, like, whoa. It was this very weird, like, woe is me kind of thing. Yeah. And he's really just, like, convinced that he does not deserve it. And
so then, after that, so that whole thing is, like, you know, Cody's like, okay, think about it. Fucking loser. And they go back, and there's a promo later on in the show, or like a segment later on in the show where they're talking to Nick Aldis, and
they're like arguing.
Yeah, Kevin Owens walks up, and he's like, hey, guys, I don't want it, and all this stuff. And Nick Aldis is like, shut the fuck up, you're dumb. If you don't want it, whatever, I was going to give it to Roman anyway. Kevin Owens completely flips, and he's like, what? You're going to give it to Roman? Yeah. He's like, I don't think so. There's so many other people back there. Which also,
I think is a fair thing to do. I mean, although Kevin Owens called them out on their bullshit, he was like, oh, that rematch clause that hasn't been in effect for like 5 years, and now you're going to give it to him?
Right.
But I agree. I don't think Roman needs a championship match right now. Right now, that focus is on Solo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Jade Cargill beats Alba.
What are we doing?
A squash, kind of.
What are we doing?
They don't know how to book the women's titles. We talked about this on the last episode. It's fucking whack, man. I don't know what's going on.
Why? It was like a 4-minute match.
Yeah, and then after the match, Blair Davenport came out again and attacked Jade.
It looks like, and then Naomi came out, so it looks like they're doing like a 3-on-3 kind of thing. But it's like, okay, what about the tag belts?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, clearly, like, we know Jade and company can beat them.
Yeah.
Like, they're just that much better.
Right.
So why are we, like, beating around the bush, you know?
Just let it happen. Just give the titles back.
Give them back. Put them where they belong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't need it.
I feel like there's not much to be said about that, except they're just kind of getting booked ridiculously.
Yeah.
Alba Fire and Isla Dawn have not done anything in my eyes besides steal a victory.
Yeah.
They have not done anything in my eyes to make me, like, feel convinced.
Yeah. Again, they had their NXT match, but it was, like, nothing crazy.
Yeah. I know. It's like they're not even being featured on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
In championship match.
Which they should be. If you want us to think that, you know, they're more than just, like, championship stealers, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, feature them in good matches, but it hasn't happened.
Exactly.
It legitimately has not. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with those titles. They got to figure something out here. Santos Escobar is #1 contender for the U.S. title.
Escobar. Sí.
Ídolo. he came out later. Yeah, Santos is the number 1 contender. How do you feel?
I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
I think either of them could have been, but I think Santos was in the whole qualifier match, so they kind of have that story connected that way. So yep. I think Santos just makes more sense. I think Santos, again, either of them could be believable as like a contender, but let's give him like a spotlight, you know?
Yeah. You know, before that, LA Knight had his first promo as the U.S. champion. It's true. He's got kind of new music. Good choice, giving him the title. It looks good on him.
I hope they do not fumble the bag.
Yeah, they better not.
Because I don't have a lot to say right now. It's still very early on. But they have a tendency to build up stars, and then when they finally become champion, it's like...
It goes downhill.
It goes downhill.
Yeah.
So I will say, though, it feels great not having Logan Paul as champion.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just like... I think in my head, I was watching the segment, and I was like, wow, now we're, like, going to see him weekly.
Yeah.
With a championship, and, like, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, the U.S. title is actually back on SmackDown.
Crazy.
So, that's good stuff. Then for the last segment, Solo Sikoa came out, new Bloodline came out. Tulsa, Oklahoma, acknowledge me, all that bullshit. Roman came out and flattened the Bloodline single-handedly. His entrance with that, like, newer theme, I know this is the one they used at WrestleMania, but it goes so hard.
It's very good, the drums.
And then they had the pyro, like, he came out and got a whole fucking pyro show. Like, they're still pushing him. It's going to be interesting, because they want, like, Cody to be their top babyface, but it feels like right now Roman is like an anti-hero type thing.
I hate to say it.
Yeah.
This could create a problem, because the smart idea would just be to, like, it's so hard because two top baby faces are just two top guys, but one of them's a champion and one of them isn't, and in your mind you could be like, I don't know, either throw Roman or Cody on Raw.
I think he is just a babyface in the Bloodline story.
Well, yeah.
He's not really a babyface everywhere else, because I don't think he's going to be anywhere, like, in any other stories right now. I think he's going to focus on the Bloodline. So when you keep it in that context, it makes sense. But if he starts being, like, a nice person to everyone else on the show, then it doesn't work at all.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying more like he's going to, like, steal a lot of the spotlight. Like,
oh, for sure.
He's like
which we thought was going to happen anyway.
He's like a main event guy, so it's tough because he's a main event guy. Cody's a main event guy. You could put either of them on the other brand, but they're basically going to overshadow whatever's going on Raw.
Yeah.
So
I feel like for the next few pay-per-views, they're not going to have the WWE title as the main event, and it's going to be weird. Because you should have your Undisputed Championship match as, like, the main event, but I feel like they're going to have, like, a Bloodline match as
that's why, like,
the main event for the next few things.
The brand splits always, like, felt weird for me.
Right.
Because, like, I don't know. Like, it's nice to have two world titles so you can kind of, like, give more opportunities, but at the same time it's like, well, now one's more important than the other, so is it really, like...
Yeah.
Like,
like, Bash in Berlin, obviously the World Heavyweight's going to be the main event, but Bad Blood, I'm saying, like, Bad Blood is probably going to be a Bloodline, some kind of Bloodline match. Survivor Series War Games is going to be the War Games match, which will feature the Bloodline, probably.
Right. Like, they're still running the show.
Yeah.
And so, I just don't... I mean... Excuse me. That's been, like... This whole time, the Bloodline has not taken a back seat.
Right.
And I think that's what's made Cody's title run kind of feel a little off. And now with Roman back, I'm afraid it's going to take even more of a backseat.
It probably will.
Because
unfortunately,
people want the bloodline.
Yeah.
That's like the thing.
And people want Roman. Also, I love that Roman has not said a word yet.
Yeah, I was going to say
He has not spoken, and it so works. And it's crazy because he hasn't talked, but you can tell, like, so much is already being said.
Yeah.
Like, at SummerSlam, he looked at Cody and, like, pointed to the title,
right.
and then Cody, like, tapped the title. And then here, he just came in, fucking wrecked shop, did his thing. Like, all this story is being told through no speaking. And it's great.
You know, he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. We know what he's there for.
Yeah, he can keep showing up and not saying anything. And
yeah.
But then when he does talk, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because people love Roman.
Right.
Crazy sentence. People love Roman.
People love Roman.